So let's try in this video to, well, first start with the properties that we went over last time. Please remember to have those handy and to review them because those should be like clear before we move on. Uh, and then let's start talking about like how exponential functions behave. I'm going to start with an easy example. So imagine you have a list of numbers 6, 12, 24, and I'm asking you what the next number is. So it takes a while, but if you know that what you're doing is multiplying by 2 each time, so 6 times 2 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, it's not too hard to guess that number will have to be 48, right? Because 24 times 2 is 48. So what if I don't want the number right next to 24, but maybe the number that is like at the end of this row? So what would I do? Well, clearly, there's no mystery. We will continue multiplying by 2 each time. And so first time we do it is 48. Then because 24 times 2 is 48. The next number will be 96 because we are multiplying by 2. So by multiplying by 2, one of those numbers, we're going to get the next. So there's no mystery there, right? Um, so the challenge for us to uh, like face would be like to find another way to do this so that um, we don't have to multiply by 2 every single time. So right now we are depending on one number to know the next one. So our challenge would be like, could we find this answer without knowing the number that goes before? Um, so that is the challenge, and that's what we are trying to do from this slide on. So first, I'm calling this kind of position number. I'm assigning x to that. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then the actual number I'm putting that down here, and I'm calling that f of x. Notice that when x equals 0, that number is 6, so I'm calling that the initial number because 0 is our point of reference right there. So we already know what number goes there. We are just trying to find like another way to get it without needing the number before. Okay, so that's our challenge. So we know that number is 768, so there's no mystery there. We already know the answer we're looking for. The question is how to get this same number in a more effective way. Okay, so concentrate in that, please. Not in the actual answer, but how to get it. So if we go back and check what we did to each of the numbers, we're going to get something like this. This 12 came from 6 times 2. And that we can write it as 6 times 2 to the first power. Remember, any number to the first power is the same number. So the 2 here is basically the same as 2 to the first. So we haven't changed anything. How about the 24? Well, the 24, we got it by multiplying this 6 times 2 right here by 2. So that we can write it as 6 times 2 to the second power because now we got 2 times that number multiplied by itself. And now concentrate here because my next answer will be this times 2, right? Remember, each time we are multiplying by 2. So 48 will be 6 times 2 times 2, the one before, that multiplied by 2. And now, since we have 3 of those 2's multiplied by themselves, we can write that as 6 times 2 to the third power. So now we look at these exponents and we see like a connection. So every single time I'm multiplying my initial number, 6, times the number that I'm multiplying by each time and raised to the value of x. So that's kind of the pattern that we recognize now, and we can use that to find what number goes there or how to get that number that goes there, right? So by looking at this last row, we can see a pattern that links the value of x up here. So when it is 4, we do 6 times 2 to the fourth. When it is 3, we do 6 times 2 to the third, and so on and so forth. So not too hard to guess what we need to do for this number here. Even if we don't know the one before, uh, we can still know, well, I gotta multiply 6 times 2, but this time to the seventh power. And that is exactly the answer that we're going to get. That's going to give us 768. But notice that here we have developed a method that allows us to find just any number for any particular value of x. If we were looking for x equals 12, we will do the initial number 6 times 2 to the 12. So that is a more effective way of finding that number without having to do the multiplication by 2 so many times. We will plug it in the calculator and the calculator will do that for us. Okay, so um, let's stop right there and we'll continue in class.